welcome to the not-so-frozen tundras of Washington, D.C. Baruch Hashem has warmed up a lot. And we will warm ourselves this morning by the fires of Torah, continuing on our learning of Shmiras HaLashon. We're going to return to the gates of discernment, the Shar HaTavuna, and we're going to talk about today more about the Bitachon. So what are we going to talk about with Bitachon? Well, in this chapter, which is chapter 11, we will now be explaining that Hashem is a machaseh, a trusted place, or a haven, where a person can find relief, okay, because of bitachon. All right, so that's even though we use that now for insurance, you should feel not just insured but secure in this practice in yourself. Now is actually his first word. Now that we have said that, refraining or restraining yourself from saying bad things includes all kinds of parts of speech that are meant to inflict harm or to instigate against your friend. Things like bad speech, lashon hara, tale-bearing, rechilus, machlokes, introducing disputes, uklalos, cursing them, halvanas panim, to humiliate them, and oppressing them with words. You know, oppression with words basically means to, it's a form of malfeasance that's equivalent to an emotional form of manipulation. Someone who wishes to guard their tongue and wishes to merit that feature in themselves, that proper path, they should be secure in the aspect of trusting in Hashem, as we said in chapter 10. Said in chapter 9 too, it's also chapter 10, especially chapter 10. In order that they should do nothing wrong for anyone. So that if someone should ever come across their path, they should not come to speak poorly about them, and to fight with them, and to curse them, and to humiliate them, and to instigate against them, and to trust in Hashem. Because Hashem will give them another opportunity elsewhere. Because that is the thing that you're looking for. You're trying to find something that you're lacking, and Hashem will provide that for you. For the rabbis say in the Gemara, this is in Menachos 29b, everyone who hangs their faith in Hashem, in the Holy One, blessed be He is a machaseh. This is where he gets the title from. He is a haven, a safe place in this world and in the next world. Shnei as it says, and a quoted pasuk. And the Chavetz Chaim says, he's the author, that the words at the beginning of this statement are anyone who hangs. Okay, if the word is toleh, which includes, even if it's not something that is pertinent to things that are heavenly, or things that are in the heavenly host, and so too for things that you're refraining from initiating a fight with your friend, which are things that would be personal against you, because of the honor due to happen, because you are concerned that maybe you won't be able to face against the struggle at that time and the anger of saying things to them that are inappropriate based on what the halacha is. And therefore, you're going to overstep those emotions that you're feeling welling up, and Hashem is going to repay you and be a safe haven for you in this world. Now, in Israel, the place where you store things is called a machsan. It's from this same word, machaseh. Okay, so we don't want people thinking that you're putting stuff, that Hashem is your safe house, but that's the idea, that Hashem is a safe place. Sometimes you need to retreat to that place in yourself, and it doesn't have to be a physical place. So that's what we're saying right now, is that this true trust in Hashem, that you need a place to go to feel safe. Your faith, your internal faith and trust in Hashem is where you need to go from that. So the Chavetz Chaim continues, what is this comparable to? That a person has his children having a feast at his table, and they give everybody a bit for each one of them amongst his children, and one of them grabs something from his neighbor, and the child that has something stolen from him goes to his father and says, Dad, he says, my brother, he's not giving me back a thing that he took. I told him to give it back to me. And I know that you don't want to strike him or punish him for something like this. You don't know I don't want to have to strike him for this. And you don't want me to fight with him. So therefore, I'm requesting from you that I should get something else instead. And when his father hears that, he gives this child a kiss and he gives him a different replacement piece. And he tells him, so there you see, now this is the way to get in the good graces of those who provide good things to you. Whereas your brother, that little crazy guy, he's taking your part, and he's now going to, for the next meal, he's not going to get as much as you. You're going to get twice as much as him. And I don't think I'm going to give him anything. So he learns his lesson. But if the son from whom the item was stolen went ahead and picked a fight with his brother and slapped him for taking his thing with his father watching him, until he says something nasty from his mouth. Okay, even though the truth is that you were stolen from, nonetheless, this is not something that is a good thing to see, especially in front of the father. And the father's going to think even worse of both the son who did the stealing and the son from whom it was stolen. And he's going to say, I don't understand. Why would you just come to me to resolve your issue? Ask me for another one. Maybe I'd give you in order to keep the family together, and I would punish him in a different way. Not to find opportunities where you can strike the other person and to fight with him. That doesn't make the most sense. Now, these are all pieces of advice. If the halacha is, if someone actually steals something from you, you actually do have the opportunity to fight with them. You should not covet anything that is your neighbor's. Such great advice to avoid all this. Well, yeah, and over here also it's also the prohibition of not to steal, as well. So, but this is in order to make sure you have a good heart on these things. If it was a big deal, someone goes to you and steals a lot of money. There's room within God's law to go and get that money back. You have to come to God and say, God, I want you to give me more money, and not give him more money back. No, the Torah tells you what happens. You summon that person. They have to pay sometimes double, triple, quadruple, depending on what it is they stole and how they tried to hide it from you. However, in order to teach you good practices, we're trying to teach you the following. So that's how a person should feel with their trust in Hashem, in our case. At the Holy One, blessed be He, gives everyone everything they need in their sustenance. As it says in Tehillim, this is in 136:25, Nosen lechem l'chol basar, ki le'olam chasta. Right? He gives bread to all of flesh. Why? Because he's also the father and caretaker of the people of Israel, and they are his children. Because we see that he said himself in Devarim 14:1, Bani matem l'Hashem Elokeichem. You are the children to Hashem your God. And he wants them to be at peace, and he doesn't want them to be fighting, and he doesn't want these things to go on. And it says further in the Midrash of Tana Devel Eliyahu, chapter 28, that Hashem tells the following to the Jewish people: my beloved children, is there anything that you could not request from me that I would not give you? So what am I asking from you? I want from you to love each other and to honor each other, so on and so forth. And therefore, I will not find amongst you any type of wrongdoing or any type of theft. Okay, and this was all discussed, the same sentence was discussed earlier in this same chapter, in the same section, in chapter 5. So therefore, when a person feels that they have been encroached upon by something that their friend has done to them, and they ask them to stop it, and they don't want to stop, and they come before Hashem and they ask Hashem the following: please replace my loss. Give me something else. And I don't want to look for a fight with my friend. So in such a situation, you'll find, as a result of this, great reward before Hashem in His great and mighty wisdom for your own holy behaviors. And the Gemara says this even further in Chulin. There's a verse that says, Tola Eretz Ablima. Again, the word Tola is important here. You have suspended the world upon the slightest of things. So upon what does this world stay relevant, and does it continue to exist? Almi shebolem espiv b'shas meriva. So it's the land is handing on belima. So it's a bolem, someone who shoves their mouth like that. They shove air in it. Okay, and that's how it happens, is when you just close your mouth and let the rage stay inside and look to Hashem to help you feel better, and He will give you even double the amount of things. There is a footnote he adds to this. Now, we already said that from your friend who has caused you this anguish, Hashem will reduce from them what they have taken from you. Because someone who goes and oppresses their fellow, he is clearly crazy and wicked. Those are his words. And his influences are not to go beyond what it was that what he was received from Rosh Hashanah, because he has gone and oppressed his fellow by taking more. So the exchange for this, the any type of influence that was supposed to come his way, that was in the future coming his way, as a result of his fellow, that will be taken from him, which was given to him on Rosh Hashanah, and given to his friend. And therefore, the conclusion you should draw for this is that money grabbed in unrighteousness, or in as you've done something wrong, will actually destroy you faster than having left it alone. And especially if you're looking for someone who is trying to flee from you. And the appropriate influence that you should get will be what it was from before this, which is to have gotten what you deserve on Rosh Hashanah. And the Gemara says this in Sukkah 29b. There are 4 things amongst homeowners that cause them to suffer great losses, and one of them is they take the responsibility from off of themselves and put it on their friends. Okay, so basically they make everything that's their problem, right? Constant victim behavior. Woe is me, I'm always the victim, and they make their friends have to absorb the problems. And this is also in their Eretz Zuta, chapter 3. If you take what's not yours, then what is yours will be taken from you, and you're just going to be exchanging whatever normal gratitude that had been given to you is now going to be restrained from you, because in the future times you're going to be called into account for this and be judged for it on every single penny. And the Gemara says this even further. This is in Bava Kama 119a, that anyone who steals from their friend even the smallest viable amount of 1 pruta, right, 1 penny, okay, you have taken from his own life. And so too, you have made it God's problem to give him back what you've taken away. And the Gemara says that as well. This is in Sanhedrin 8a, that the Holy One, blessed be He, informs the wicked of the following. It's not enough that you take from somebody else, but you make it my problem to make it better for them. And these type of things are all hinted to in our Torah as well. And it says this in one of the verses in Parshas Vayetze and Bereshis. Okay, it's the verses in it's in chapter Lamed Aleph 31, and it's verses 11 and 12. And so it says that it came to me, that Yaakov says that the angel came to me and says, look at all those people going up and down. Look at all of the sheep that are going up and down towards the different shafts. So they're going to be spotted and striped and blotched. Okay, and Rashi explains over there that the angels were going to influence the patterns of the sheep, that he was given a regular sheep. Okay, and he made sure that none of the two mixed up, so they couldn't blame Yaakov for trying to steal from him. And even furthermore, the explanation for that is that it might not be appropriate for me, meaning Yaakov saying this, to take anything that has been granted to me by Lavan, by his father-in-law Lavan, and to give it to you. And so therefore the angel informs him, I have seen all that Lavan has done to you. So the angel comes to him and tells Yaakov, you are actually being victimized here. He is taking from you. So I am going to take from him and repay you 10 times. and I'm going to take whatever he wants to not give to you and take it from him and give it to you, and I'm giving it back to you. And that was the whole point of that story, is that God gets involved in those actions and activities. However, if you take the other path and you look to make fights and to pick fights, and even if the truth is with you, nonetheless, here's what's going to happen. You are not making Hashem happy with this, right? It's not. No father wants to see constant bickering amongst the children, especially at his table, because of things that he's given them. And so too, when you conduct yourself with this proper act of conduct and trusting Hashem, then you're going to only see great things and the good things that he provides for you, which is even stated in the verse itself. So come and taste and see all the good things that Hashem does. That every strong person who is strong in him uses him as a safe place. So what does it mean, what does it mean taste and see? Why does it say that? Why are we saying taste and see? So what that's telling you is that just like someone who tastes something, they put it in their mouth, and they know what that flavor is, what it's like. So too, in someone who has the truth in them of this absolute faith in Hashem, are going to recognize the amount of goodness that's being bestowed upon them. And for that, we draw a close to section 11, number 11, and we're going to talk about. Next class is going to be talking about Miriam, okay, and talking about spreading gossip and slander and how that works. We will return to our exciting chapters next time. We don't have much left in the book of Discernment. We are over halfway done currently. We have about another third of it left. It has 17 parts to it. And then we will go to the Gates of Torah after that, which is a much shorter section. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.